Welcome back to the Waiting All Day for Sunday Night podcast on this Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. As we record this, Chase, it is Constitution Day. Did you know that?
Not until you told me, but, the Constitution has done some great things to our country. Philadelphia, nice place.
It has done some nice things for us. He is Chase Younts at YountsChase32 on Twitter. I'm Alex Frank at Frankie_Natty on Twitter. This is the place to vent, but this is also the place for positivity and optimism because Zach Taylor, the Bengals head coach, on Wednesday said that the door has not been closed on Joe Burrow returning for this season. Chase, in the wise words of Julian Edelman, this could be one hell of a story. The Bengals stay not just afloat, but in the thick of the playoff picture, and then Burrow comes back week 14, 15, 16, gets the Bengals into the playoffs, and then once you're in the dance, you have a chance. You never know what can happen. And here's the thing. Even if they don't win the division, their schedule next year would be both of the South divisions. That could be 8 wins right there.
Yeah. It is such a weird feeling when you have your elite quarterback get hurt again after all this. And we'll talk about that specifically in a second. But no, there is optimism. We've seen Jake Browning play really good football before. Obviously, it's a tough position for someone to walk in on a Sunday where you're basically like, there's probably not much of a chance. I'd say less than a 1% chance that I play in this game on Sunday, especially looking at the reps on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and walk through on Saturday. You're like, you know what? Like, you're not anticipating your starting quarterback to get hurt. You're not anticipating your nearly 5,000-yard passer to get hurt on a Sunday in basically a freak injury. You're not anticipating any of that. But for what Jake Browning was able to do on Sunday, I know he threw 3 interceptions, and you could dice it and slice it however you want. He still won the game. He threw 2 touchdowns. He dove over a pile to win the game with less than 20 seconds to go.
He pulled a Trevor Lawrence.
Browning, exactly. Jake's got the dog in him, man. So that's what, it did breathe a breath of somewhat fresh air into us. That Jake Browning definitely can get this job done. It's going to be a long road. And I mean, it's going to be a long one. I mean, we're talking 12 games minimum that we're going to see like a full dose of Jake Browning. And what the Bengals need to realize and what Zach Taylor needs to realize is we talked about this behind the scenes. They got to get a damn run game going. They have to because it is so critical because if you're putting – I truly believe – that Zach Taylor and the Bengals are doing Joe Burrow a disservice, putting him in the gun and throwing him 40 to 50 times a game. Yes, we know Joe Burrow's great. We understand that. Everybody in the league knows that. So you have some other media people that would not agree, which again, get your head out of the hole. But here's the thing. You look at guys like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, other quarterbacks around the league. Those quarterbacks that are on good teams also have a reliable run game that they can just go under center and hand the ball off to whoever running back is back there 20 to 30 times a game. There's balance in the offense. You're not in the gun all the time. It's not a drop back pass every single situation out there. We got horses on the outside, but guess what? If you can run the football, it's going to make people come all the way up, and you're like, oh, shoot. You got 9, you got 1, you got 5, and you got all these weapons on the outside and in play action and everything else that it's nearly impossible to stop. But when you're just coming out there in the gun and you're just dropping back so many times in a game, it really makes the other teams work a little bit easier, even if it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, because when you're in the shotgun, Chase, what are you most likely doing on that play?
Oh, you're going to pass football.
You're going to pass the football. Especially in an offense with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Andre Yosivach and Mike Gesicki. But if you go under center, I don't know what they're going to do.
You never know.
I don't know. Like, can you if Joe Burrow goes under center, which he did 2 plays before he got hurt, by the way. I was rewatching the game earlier today, and it just makes me think, man, if they go under center, remember the 4th down conversion of CJ Uzomah against the Vikings in 21?
Yeah.
It was under center on that play. I didn't know they were going to sneak it. I didn't know they were going to hand it off. I didn't know they were going to drop Burrow on a 7-step drop and then pop pass over the middle to Uzomah. I didn't know they were going to do that. And here's the thing. Joe Mixon had more rush attempts than Joe Burrow had pass attempts in that game. Look at the Steelers game at home in 2021 when Mixon had 165 yards. That was after he had 100-plus rushing yards in Vegas. The Bengals coaching staff said this isn't working through 9 weeks. They ripped up their entire running scheme, and they implemented a new one, and then look what it did. Look what it did. They were able to run the football. Even in the playoffs, they ran the football.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon had 100 yards against the Bills in 22. He had a really good 3-game stretch in the divisional championship and Super Bowl in 21. So if you can run the football with Chase Brown, who almost had 1,000 yards last season, if you can run the football, maybe even sprinkle in a little Josh Brooks and Samaje Perine. If you can run the football, I can't tell you how much that's going to take off of your quarterback. But here's the thing that I also think about. There's 2 things. One, we know Jake Browning's capable. Jake Browning can throw the football.
Yes,
it's not like on Saturday or Sunday, they were just having him throw screens and 5-yard stop routes. He was taking shots down the field.
He was.
Touchdown to Tinsley. That's not an easy throw.
Yeah. The T as well.
The touchdown to T. Higgins. And then on 4th and 3 to get the pass interference, he didn't just go over the middle. No. He went near side. That's a tough throw to make. He was making throws over the middle of the field after that. This guy's not just going to sit back there and, throw screens and side to side. No, he's going to take shots. That's what he does. That's what you get from learning from Joe Burrow. Go ahead.
Let me tell you this. Jake Browning is no Joe Burrow. And I think what I realized when he tried to throw that pass in between 2 linebackers for his 3rd interception of the day, I think everybody that was like, man, this guy can step in for us like that and play like Joe Burrow. No, he can't. But the thing is,
you can learn from those.
You definitely can. Not many people can knife that thing through the hook zone of both linebackers trying to drop back in a Tampa 2 cover. That's tough, all right? But what I want to say is, what Jake does a really good job of doing is getting the ball out of his hands quick. I think when he extends the play, you don't see that type of success, obviously. He's one backup quarterback, and 2, Joe Burrow's really able to do that very well. But when Jake Browning gets the ball out of his hands really quick, that's the most effective Jake Browning right there. That's truly playing the point guard position, not dribbling the ball too much in a basketball sense. It's get the ball, facilitate it, and get it to your playmakers to get buckets. And in that regard, get catches, move down the field, score touchdowns.
So let me pose this question to you. As far as the Bengals getting their running game going, what if they put in more running plays for Jamar Chase?
Jet sweeps.
Like a deep Samuel.
Yeah, you got to find ways to get that guy the ball. And you already know with a backup quarterback in the game that teams truly are going to double him more than you would have expected, even if Burrow was in on Sunday. Exactly. So if you're really able to find yeah, they did. And again, that's why you move Jamar Chase around in the slot. That's why you move Jamar around pre-snap motion. See if it's man, see if it's zone, a disguise. On the outside, if you got the one-on-one, you already know you're taking the shot over there. You got to be able to move Jamar Chase around so much because guess what? If people get too enamored with Jamar Chase, Jake Brown has got a connection with T. Higgins as well. And many quarterbacks have connections with T. Higgins in that regard. That guy's literally 6'4", 6'5", and has got a wingspan that is pretty much a skyscraper build. Come on. If they're able to run the football, though, then it really will collapse the defense to take some shots over the top with one-on-one opportunities, and it gets guys like Chase Brown going. It gets a Samaje Perine going. Maybe you see Josh Brooks. I don't know. But what happens is Zach Taylor's forced to call a more balanced game, a well-rounded game, be more creative. What we expected from the Sean McVay tree in which Zach Taylor fell from. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Obviously, I was like, hey, I wish he would have done that with our quarterback instead of dropping him back 40 times, but the present is the present. And we got to make a present for Jake Browning and go on ahead and try to win more than half of these football games that he's going to be starting to put ourselves in a good position. Because, man, if Jake Browning goes 6-6, the Bengals are 8-6 by the time we get to late December, and that's a pretty good spot to be in. But if Jake Browning is able to go through and be 7-5, there you go.
Here's the thing. Jake Browning also didn't have a tight end the last time he had to play extended time. He has that this year, and Mike Gesicki. But literally, Chase, on that first drive of the second half, you knew where the ball was going, and it still got to Jamar Chase. That's how good Jamar Chase is. Excuse me for my phone ringing in the background. That's how good this guy is. You know that's where Jake Browning's going to the ball. But imagine this. And by the way, Jamar Chase is stronger than you think. Look at those legs when they churn. I mean, they are getting 5 extra yards with 2 guys on him. Jamar Chase doesn't look like he's a big athletic guy like Deebo Samuel is, but he can churn those legs pretty darn well. So let's say you use Jamar Chase on jet sweeps, inside zone. Maybe you use him on like some pitch outs to the outside. Remember that 4th down conversion they had in the playoff game against the Raiders? It was 13-6 in the second quarter. Burrow pitched it back to Chase. He got like 20 yards.
Yeah.
So you can do that. But I think what this stretch is going to tell us is this is going to be really interesting to see what Zach Taylor does with Jake Browning. And if it works, and I think it can you apply some of that with Joe Burrow? Yes, Joe Burrow's great. Yes, Joe Burrow's special, but you can't take advantage of that and not do other things to help him. Can Joe Burrow help himself? Absolutely. But I think that this stretch right now, because I think people thought when Burrow hurt his wrist, it's just a fluke. We'll get through it. We'll get back to normal next year. And to their credit, they did. But they didn't make the playoffs. And he took a lot of hits. This time around, it has to be the wake-up call. Not only protecting Joe Burrow, but how can we help him a little bit with other parts of our offense? How can we run the football? How can we take some of the pressure off? Can we call some screens maybe? I know Burrow doesn't like screens, but damn it, when you have Jamar Chase, just give him the ball and whoosh, he's off.
It's wake up and take action time. It's not just – you got to be able to go all hands on deck at that approach. But I'm going to tell you this, Alex. A team that needs to wake up and press the panic button is the Kansas City Chiefs because I don't know what's going on right now. They play 2 great teams, don't get me wrong. But this is not the spot you want to be in if you're Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs.
It's unprecedented. Like, you want to talk about unprecedented injuries. Let's talk about unprecedented territory, uncharted territory with the Kansas City Chiefs because it is time to smash the panic button. Chase, the Chiefs do not have an offense. Okay?
No.
They don't have an offense. They can't stop anybody on defense, which I think maybe they can get better at. But here's the problem. The Chiefs don't scare anybody right now. They don't.
No.
Patrick Mahomes is back there. He looks, can I say it, lost, confused? He looks mortal based off what we've seen. And here's the crazy thing is you relate it to the Bengals. They're 2-0, and I was thinking about it before we recorded. If they don't win the division, can they be one of the 3 best teams of the 12 that don't win their divisions? Well, you can already scrape off Cleveland, New York, Miami, and Tennessee. That leaves you with 8. Here's the thing. 2 of the division winners from last year are 0-2, Houston and Kansas City. One of them, I don't know how good they're really going to be, even if they do bounce back, and the other may be headed for 9-8 or 8-9. So if you're the Bengals, you have everything right in front of you, even without Joe Burrow for however long. But the Chiefs, I mean, the Chiefs are just, it's hard to watch them move the ball. Like, if I'm a fan of the Chiefs, I'm like, where's the offense that we had in 22 or even 23? But I'm going to throw out one name who isn't there that may be the reason why the Chiefs have struggled the last 2 years. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Maybe he was the mastermind behind all of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a bigger part than what people gave him credit to be. I think that is a big thing. I think another thing that I look down at and see is that Patrick Mahomes is the leading rusher for the Chiefs by over 80 yards in the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, that can't happen.
So when your other running backs and Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco have exactly 47 yards apiece in 2 games on less than 15 carries apiece, stuff really isn't cutting out that well. Teams have been able to get out on Kansas City and jump on them early. The Chargers jumped on them early. The Eagles, even when they were down later in the second quarter, they still were not intimidated because of the history that has gone by with those 2 teams. And the Eagles have won 3 straight games against the Chiefs. So I think there really isn't much of an intimidation factor if you're able to jump on the Chiefs early because, quite frankly, at this moment, they don't have the horses on the outside to make a comeback and compete to win a football game when they're down. So it's a very on-scheduled, on-pace Kansas City football team that doesn't or is not showing the juice on this roster that they need to show to win football games. And it's not going to get much easier on Sunday Night Football when you saw a Giants offense that looked twice as better as the Chiefs offense on Sunday.
With Russell Wilson. I mean, they have to be thinking, hey, if we can just get some stops defensively, we can win this game. And it's like last week we talked about, well, if the Chiefs fall to 0-2, what are we going to say? If they fall to 0-3, what are we going to be saying? And you're staring down the Ravens coming in? And it's like, well, we can beat the Ravens. Okay, well, you still have Jacksonville, Detroit, the Raiders, the Commanders, the Bills, the Broncos twice. I mean, and you still play the Chargers who are 2-0. And I mean, this is – look, the Chiefs may bounce back from this even if they do fall to 0-3. But now they're getting used to not having a fast start, not having a cushion. Nice to have that, isn't it?
Yeah. Let me ask this. I know it's only 2 games in, but what's more likely to happen? Patrick Mahomes take advantage of this Giants defense as a whole, or Russell Wilson take advantage of this Chiefs defense as a whole? And again, when I ask that question, you might be like, oh, it's easy. Patrick Mahomes. But do the Chiefs have a young superstar receiver that's going crazy on the outside? No. Do the Giants have one? Yes. So it's only one guy, but I'll tell you this, one guy can make a difference in a football game. And Malik Neighbors almost was the reason why the Giants beat the Cowboys on Sunday. Sole reason.
Well, Dexter Lawrence may not be pretty happy right now, as you've seen some of the tweets that have come out today from Jordan Renan, who covers the Giants for ESPN.com, NFL Nation. So it's a tough question. I would say the Chiefs just because the Giants' defense has been awful the first 2 weeks. I mean,
it's been bad. It's been bad. Trust.
You can't give up 40 points to the Cowboys, okay?
No.
And I know the Giants' defense is bad because the Commanders' offense looked like I don't know. They didn't know what they were doing against Green Bay last Thursday night. And then you go into Dallas, and even on a day where your quarterback throws for 454 or whatever, how many yards he threw, and your wide receiver goes for 160 and 2 touchdowns, you still can't find a way to win against the Cowboys offense that should be mediocre at best. I mean, the Cowboys have been feeling pretty good about themselves. Clearly, Jerry Jones, as he was dancing in the locker room, he was getting into it with the post-game chants. So, I mean, this is a huge game for both teams. If you're the New York Giants, who the last time they got off to any good start, they've only gotten off to really one good start in the last, or 2 good starts in like the last 15 years. Okay? If they lose this game, heads are going to start to roll in New York, because this was supposed to be the year where they were competitive, and they're now going to be 0-3. And if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, the last time the Kansas City Chiefs were 0-3 was, I don't even remember.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but still.
This is the first time the Chiefs are 0-2 since 2014. I was 15 years old at that time.
Yeah, I was 11. Yeah? No, it's been a minute. It's definitely been a minute.
The last time the Kansas City Chiefs fell to 0-2, it was the same day of the first game at Levi's Stadium, okay? They're getting ready to host their second Super Bowl. So, just going to point that out there.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on Sunday night. That's all I got to say. And we'll obviously pick that game a little bit. But, I mean, there's a big one on Sunday at 1 o'clock that, definitely could have been the national TV game for Fox's 425 slate. But 1 o'clock it'll stay there. Still got a great announcing team. But that Eagles and Rams game is going to be fun.
We did not do this leading up to the season. We didn't do like schedule omissions of like games that weren't put in national spotlights, 425 primetime standalone games that should have been. I am shocked that Rams Eagles is not one of those games.
Shocked.
Okay? Because it's 2-0 versus 2-0. And if the LA Rams, who I don't think they've wowed anybody by any means, now partially because they haven't played on national TV yet. But if they go into Philadelphia and win, and by the way, since they were 1-4 last year, they've lost just 4 games. 2 of those are to Philadelphia, and they almost beat them last year in the playoffs, if you'll remember. So if they go into Philadelphia and win this Sunday, which they absolutely can, we need to start talking about the LA Rams as maybe a favorite in the NFC, which I don't think any of us thought was going to be the case coming into this season.
I mean, not necessarily a favorite. I mean, I had this team winning 12 games, but I didn't even have them winning their division. So, I mean, I'd tell you this, man. I think the biggest question with the Rams is Matthew Stafford going to be fully functionable and healthy by the time things get to week 1? And we thought that the Texans defense was going to be too quick for Stafford and the offensive line. And obviously it was an ugly, low-scoring football game. But Sean McVay and the Rams found a way to win. Stafford and then made enough plays down the stretch to win the football game. They looked a bit better this past Sunday against a young Titans team that's still trying to find their footing. But here's the real test. You're going back on the road. You're playing against a team you lost in the playoffs in that same stadium where things look bleak. They made a comeback, and they almost won the football game. So the Rams are definitely going to have that sort of revenge, and you can't get all of the revenge back in one game, but they're going to have that sort of revenge on their mind where they can literally take over the NFC at least through week 3 against the defending Super Bowl champions in their home stadium and move to 3-0. I'm excited to see what Kyron Williams has. I'm excited to see Puka. And Puka, 18 catches for 221 yards in his first 2 games. He's been spectacular. And then Matthew Stafford, still a gunslinger. Can they protect him? If they protect him, he's got enough time to slice and dice over the field. The Rams offense could have a pretty good day through the air.
Well, I think what's interesting for me is Philadelphia and the Rams are both 2-0, and they haven't played their best football yet, neither of them. So that tells you how good of teams and organizations that they have. But I think with the Eagles, I wonder if their secondary has enough guys to prevent the Rams offense, because Stafford was dicing them up last year in the playoffs, if you'll remember, with Puka Nacua. Well, now throw in him and Devontae Adams, and you'll see what you can get. I think Kenyon Mitchell had a huge interception last week against the Chiefs. That's going to be a player to watch. Can Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship also step up against a very good Rams offense? But, I mean, we're talking about a collision course potentially. The Rams host the 49ers on Thursday Night Football 2 weeks from tomorrow. Both teams could very well be 4-0 going into that game, and that could be for early control not only in the NFC West, but also for the NFC. But as far as this game goes on Sunday, it's a huge game for both teams because of the NFC hierarchy. The Rams don't play the Packers this season. The Eagles do. Now, the Rams also have had the benefit of playing the Texans and the Titans the first 2 weeks, but now they're going to get severely tested against the Eagles. Then they go back out east when they play the Ravens in week 6, and then they go to London to face the Jaguars in week 7. So their schedule is going to pick up significantly as we approach the midway point in the season. But that's where if you can get a win here, this is a prove-it game for me for the Rams and the Eagles. Now, America's Game of the Week on Fox, when the schedule came out, I was kind of excited for this game. You mentioned it, you were too, because of the uniform combos we could get. It's Dallas at Chicago. The last time the Bears had an America's Game of the Week at home, you got to go back probably to the Mitch Trubisky days, maybe. I mean, that's how far back we're going with this. Actually, no, it was week 1 of 23 when the Packers played them and the Packers annihilated them. So
that's very true.
Now the Cowboys are 1-1. The Bears are 0-2. But I think both teams need a win this week. Like, if you're the Cowboys, if you win and the Eagles lose, suddenly you're tied for first. But if you're the Bears and you lose this game and fall to 0-3, then it's now what?
Oh, easy. I mean, it's dire constraints for both teams. I mean, with the Cowboys, to go on the road and win a national TV game with, new head coach, get the 2-1, going into a game the following week against the Packers on Sunday Night Football, which, I mean, that's going to be an absolutely emotional game, which we'll talk all about that next week. But that's big for them. In Chicago's world, I mean, if you know a Bears fan, give them a hug because, wow, it's been rough. I mean, it's been rough since the Jim McMahon days. Oh, man. I mean, when you twist it to seeing it as America's Game of the Week, there's obviously great games on America's Game of the Week. Usually there are. This is one of those where it's like, you know what? You start to see two teams that are in desperation early in the season. Who's going to pull some more cards out that we didn't know they had? Who's going to step up and rise to the occasion? That kind of thing. And that's what makes it really fascinating with Ben Johnson, a first-time head coach, and Brian Schottenheimer, a first-time head coach. So I'm intrigued for that aspect, but I'm also really intrigued for Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football, you said it. I mean, what a matchup this is going to be between two teams who bounced back in big ways this past weekend. It's the Lions and the Ravens in Baltimore, 8:15 kick on ESPN and ABC. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters, Laura Rutledge with the call from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. A smash-mouth football game and a game featuring two teams we're going to learn a lot about, I believe. We're going to learn how good are the Lions post-Ben Johnson and post-Aaron Glenn. Because, Chase, if anybody was, planning their demise after week one, they were severely, sorely mistaken on Sunday. What did you see from the Lions on Sunday that most impressed you?
I saw the old Lions. That's what impressed me. They scored 52 points against a divisional opponent. I mean, obviously you can slice up whatever way you want, talk about it's the Chicago Bears. But, I mean, that was the offense that, without Ben Johnson, did that to Ben Johnson. So, I saw that Lions team out there that was just, so efficient, effective, had energy, life, everything. They said, you know what? Week one, in a way, they like to think was a fluke. It was, the pilot episode that was not going to be exactly what the pilot. It took a different direction. 52 points in a football game is tough. 52 points in an NFL game is tough. 52 points against a division rival in the National Football League. I mean, that's a lot right there. Again, with both of these teams being 1-1, the Ravens bounced back from a tough performance after scoring 40 points, and they scored 40 points again. I mean, this is an offense that's just, electrifying as all get out. But, I mean, you're going to find out a lot about both of these teams, one way or another. Who's for real? Who's got some stuff they need to work on? One of these teams, I think, is going to be the best 1-2 football team in the National Football League once we get through this game, is all I'll put.
That's a very good way to put it. And whoever does win is going to be 2-1 and very well could be 3-0. I mean, in the case of the Ravens, they've scored 40-plus points the first 2 weeks and should be 2-0. So that tells you how good they are, whether we underestimated them or not. And then if you're the Detroit Lions, I mean, people forget, Jared Goff was 31 of 39 against Green Bay. And they said, gentlemen, we're a run-first team. Okay, look what they did against the Bears. And by the way, Jared Goff still threw for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns with no picks. But if the Lions go win this game on the road and win in an outdoor environment, then it's going to be incredibly raucous. They go back home, suddenly, we face Cleveland. That's a win. You go face the Bengals with a backup quarterback. I mean, you're probably getting too ahead of yourselves, but the Detroit Lions could be, once again, that team we all thought they were going to be. Super Bowl window closed? Oh, no, it's still open. And then if you're the Baltimore Ravens, I mean, they won last week, and Derrick Henry had 23 rushing yards. They won 41-17. So clearly they're not playing their best, and they're still finding ways to win games and, also lose games they should have won. So, but if they lose this game and you're staring down the Chiefs, and let's say you go face an 0-3 Chiefs team on the road, that's a scary place to be in. That is a scary place to be in if you're the Baltimore Ravens. See, here's the thing. This season is already shaping up to be a wild season. Look how many teams have lost their starting quarterbacks. Look at how many teams are struggling that we thought were going to be good. The Miami Dolphins, we thought were going to be competitive. How they got 5 primetime games, I'll never know. But my golly, the Chicago Bears, they're 0-2. So, yeah, these games, look, it's NFC versus AFC. As far as tiebreakers go, it may not mean a whole lot, but it definitely does to these two teams. It's one of your 17 regular season games, and the object is to win the game. So you better believe both teams are going to show a lot in this game. It's week 3. Both teams are 1-1. This is why you play the games. The schedule makers got this one right, having this on Monday Night Football.
Yes, they did, and we got a lot of great games coming up for week 3.
Oh, yes, we certainly do. Chase, it's funny as you mentioned this. So we start with Thursday Night Football on Prime Video tomorrow night. It's the Dolphins at 0-2, the Bills at 2-0. By the way, Tua said earlier this week that he can't do half the things Josh Allen can do, so that's a boost of confidence that the Dolphins need. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kelly Hartog, with the call. 8:15 on Prime Video. Jason Horowitz, Ross Tucker with the call on Westwood One. Chase, who do you got in this one?
Bills, easy, next.
I'm taking the Bills 34-24. I do think the Dolphins will show up, but what's interesting about this game is if they lose this game, and this could ultimately start the demise of Mike McDaniel, if it hasn't already, the Dolphins were playing at the Bills and playing well and outplaying them 3 years ago on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And they lost. And ever since then, the Bills have owned them. So there's that. Okay. That's the start of 6 straight wins for the Bills against the Dolphins. Now we move to the Falcons and the Panthers. Atlanta 1-1, Carolina 0-2. 1 o'clock kick on Fox. Alex Faust, Matt Millen, Sarah Kustok with the call. Bank of America Stadium. Chase, who do you got in this? It's an interesting one.
It's an interesting one. It's a divisional rivalry. You can't take those lightly, especially with a favored team going on the road against a divisional opponent, the Falcons-Panthers. I'm going to go Falcons. I think they can run the football well. If they kind of duplicate the performance that they had and convert more touchdowns and field goals, then I think the Falcons are going to be able to handle this one.
I like the Falcons. I think they're on to something. I don't think it was at all Michael Penix's fault they lost in week 1. They bounced back in a big way, and their defense played well. That's the important thing here. I'm taking Atlanta 27-20. Next up, we've got the Packers and the Browns. Green Bay 2-0, Cleveland 0-2. 1 o'clock kick on Fox. Kevin Kugler, Daryl Moose Johnson, Allison Williams with the call. I think we know who we're going with this one.
Yeah. Give me the Packers in this one. I think the Packers offense is too dynamic. I think they'll find ways to protect Jordan Love from Myles Garrett. If they run the football, then I think that's going to put them in a good spot. And then, getting pressure on Joe Flacco. I don't think Joe Flacco is going to have much of a way to get out of that pass rush against the Packers unless he throws the football, which would be throwing the football early. And those Packers defenders are pretty active on the football, so that could result in some picks.
Yes, absolutely. I think the Browns' best shot at getting any momentum going this season was in week 1 against the Bengals, and well, as Dan Hort says, Schmidt happens. So I'm taking the Packers blowout fashion, 31-17. All right. Next up, we've got an AFC South showdown. The Texans at 0-2, Jaguars 1-1. 1 o'clock kick, CBS, Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, Dean and Kinkabwala with the call. Big one for both teams.
Man, if I'm going off of what I've seen the first 2 weeks, I would go Jags, but I think the Texans are so desperate that they narrowly squeak out a victory. I think the defense is going to come ready to play. I think Trevor Lawrence puts a lot of footballs in harm's way. And Texans make some plays on it, and I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, but the Texans win narrowly.
So 2 years ago, the Texans went into Jacksonville, the exact same records for both teams as going into this Sunday. and they crushed them. And it really kind of got their season going. If you remember C.J. Stroud's rookie season, they had that special teams kick return touchdown. It was like some bigger guy who ran it back. So I think that's going to happen here. I actually feel a little better about the Texans after this week than I did going into week 2. They showed me something. Their special teams look good. Their defense looked good, minus the last possession. I think their offense is slowly starting to come into form. Nick Chubb still looks good. I'll take the Texans to get their season back on track. I'll say 27-24. They get a much-needed win. All right, we've got the Bengals at 2-0. The Vikings at 1-1. Ron Torber, by the way, is the referee for this game, so take that for what you will. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson with the call, 1 o'clock CBS. A lot of guys won't be playing in this game. It's unfortunate Burrow won't be this. This was going to be the reunion game. Burrow, Chase, Jefferson, Higgins. But it's a game the Bengals should win.
Well, Jake Browning talked about how, sometimes you got to have some delusion. And I'm going to ride with the delusion the rest of the way until it kills me. So I'm going to go the Bengals in this one. Don't know what the score is going to be. Don't know how the game's going to look. It could go any different direction. So I'm going to go with the Bengals and ride with the delusion.
I mean, yes, there is going to have to be some delusion, but this is a game the Bengals should win. The Vikings are going to be without J.J. McCarthy, Aaron Jones. They're starting left tackle Christian Darrisaw, and they're starting center. I forget his name, but it's a game that the Bengals should win, albeit it's going to be a close one. Give me 23-20. Bengals reverse that bad score and has haunted them in recent years. And I'll even say Evan McPherson, as he has done in the last 2 games against the Minnesota Vikings, will connect on a game-winning field goal of 37 yards as the Bengals get to 3-0. And then all of a sudden, the Bengals keep winning games. Burrow may return in December. Could be one hell of a story, Chase.
We'll see.
All right. Next up, here's a big one. This used to be one of the premier matchups every season. A pair of 1-1 teams, the Steelers and the Patriots, 1 o'clock CBS. Our good friend Ian Eagle, J.J. Watt, and Evan Washburn will have the call. This is a tough one here.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think Pittsburgh's going to be up to the challenge, and I think they're going to win a very low-scoring football game. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be grit, grime, and everything else that you want. I think the Steelers are going to win this one very narrowly.
This one's really hard because both teams, the Steelers were disappointing last week. The Patriots were impressive. I'm going to take the Patriots at home, but in an ugly low-scoring game, 2017, they win.
Okay.
All right, next up on the list, we have the Rams-Eagles, which we talked about. Joe Davis, Greg Olsen, Pam Oliver with the call. Hey, you know what? It's not a 425 game, but Greg Olsen is on the call, so there is that.
Yeah, it's a great announcing duo. It's going to be calling a great game. And I think with some questions that we've seen from the Eagles over the first 2 weeks, I think they're going to be able to get their offense going a little bit. But I'm going to go on ahead and say the Rams win this football game. I think what they've got going on, I know they played 2 AFC South opponents, but I think Sean McVay and these guys are really going to rise to the occasion. I think they've got, revenge on their mind, and I think they're going to be able to run the football. I'm excited to see what they got. If they're able to run the football and open up the play action pass or whatever they want with that, they could slice and dice however they would like against this Eagles secondary. It's going to be a fun football game. I'm going to take the Rams in this one.
Okay, so we'll differ again. I'm going to pick the Eagles just because they're at home, and I think they have the Rams number, and I think they can match up well with the Rams, which is funny because I actually said this was a bad matchup for the Eagles last year, I think, going into the playoff game. I think Saquon Barkley has an explosive day. I'll take the Eagles 31-24, which should be a very entertaining game. All right, this matchup, okay. The 0-2 Jets, the 2-0 Buccaneers, 1 o'clock kick on Fox. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Megan Levy with the call. Tampa Bay has not started 3-0 in each of the last 4 seasons. They've been 2-0, but they haven't won in week 3. That changes here, doesn't it?
I agree. I would have said if Justin Fields would have been healthy and played better on Sunday, then I'd be like, I don't know. I see a weird feeling how this could go because last year the Broncos were able to take down the Bucs in one of these odd games where we didn't expect the Denver Broncos to do what they did, and it really helped their season out as well. But yeah, I'm going to take the Bucs of this one. I think the Bucs have something really good going. I think Baker Mayfield's playing some great football.
He's playing some good football. That defense is flying around. They're running the football. I'll take the Buccaneers in a whitewashing. I'll say 35-14. That's a lopsided score. But, all right, another interesting matchup, AFC South. 2-0 Colts, the 0-2 Titans. 1 o'clock CBS, Tom McCarthy, Ross Tucker, Amanda Balionis with the call. Cam Ward's done some good things. I mean, that touchdown he had last week was impressive. But the Colts right now look like the better team. And how about the Colts? 2-0, and they got a real shot to be 3-0.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with the Colts too. They haven't punted in the first 2 games. I mean, I think they might punt Sunday, but I still think they're going to win Sunday. So I think if Daniel Jones and whatever him and Shane Steichen have been doing, they got the run game going. They're able to play efficient football, passing it. I think their secondary has been reworked, and Lou Anarumo's still a mastermind, is all I'm going to say. If those guys are able to comprehend and do those things like they've been doing over the past couple of weeks, then the Colts are going to be a tough football team. Give me Indianapolis.
Sometimes schemes just, I mean, they don't last any longer. That's what happened here in Cincinnati, but you look at what it's been doing in Indianapolis. I think the Colts go down to Nashville, get a win, a tough one. I'll say 23-16.
Yeah.
All right, next up on the list, we've got the Raiders at 1-1, the Commanders at 1-1, 1 o'clock on Fox. Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth, Jen Hale with the call. Jaden Daniels, we don't know his status yet. Do not overlook the Raiders, though, if you're the Commanders.
This makes it tough. If Jaden Daniels plays, I take the Commanders. I think he'll do some more work in the pocket, and I think he'll do a pretty good job if these guys can hold up for him. But you can never count out guys like Max Crosby on the other side, and the Raiders, don't sleep on them. I'll take the Commanders at the moment. I'll hold.
I will take the Commanders as well, just because Marcus Mariota, I think, knows the Raiders system of defense because he played for them. I'll say the Commanders win this one. What's a good final score? I will say 28-20 in a very good one. All right. Next up, we go out west, a huge one. Denver at 1-1. The Chargers are 2-0. Chase, if the Broncos lose this game and they're 1-2, and let's say the Bengals are 3-0 going into Denver for Monday Night Football, all of a sudden the pressure is on Denver in that game.
Yeah. I think Denver. This actually might be one of the toughest ones to pick, because if the Chargers are able to go 3-0 in the first 3 against all divisional opponents, I mean, talk about setting the tone. But that's all Jim Harbaugh and them do in the second year under him and whatever team he goes to. Give me the Chargers. I think the pressure is going to be on Denver after this.
I'm going to take the Chargers as well. I think that they have played some really good football. I know Khalil Mack being out could be interesting to see how that goes, but I'm worried about Denver. They have not been impressive. Their offense was clunky week 1. Their defense struggled this past week. I'll take the Chargers 30, I'll say 31-24. So that's a game, 405 CBS. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins with the call. Next up, Saints and Seahawks. Saints 0-2, Seahawks 1-1. Seattle, huge bounce-back win last week. Now they face the 0-2 Saints. It's the Saints' 3rd straight NFC West team to start the season, so not a favorable schedule for them, and they're going on the road. 405 CBS, Andrew Catalon, Charles Davis, Jason McCourty, AJ Ross on the call.
Yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks. I think they have too much against the Saints.
I'm going to take Seattle as well. I'll say that I think they score a lot in this game, 34-20. They get the win. Okay. Cowboys, Bears, America's game of the week, 425 on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi on the call.
I think the Dallas Cowboys win this game by a touchdown.
Okay, that's fair. I think they do something similar, except they're going to lose by a touchdown.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to say the Bears pull off a surprise upset. You've seen this movie before. The Dallas Cowboys are teasing us again, but the Bears are not. I think the Bears, they're going to come into this game. They're going to play ticked off. They're going to play with a vengeance. I'm going to take the Bears 27-20.
I can see it.
425 on Fox. We've got the Cardinals at 2-0, the Niners at 2-0. Adam Amin, Mark Sanchez, Christina Pink with the call. Who do you like in this one for first place in the division potentially?
This is a tough one, actually. I mean, if Brock Purdy was playing, I'd say I would definitely lean Niners. I mean, Mac Jones didn't play terrible, but look at this. I think I'm going to roll with the Niners. I think they're embracing this style of football that they have to, just find different ways to get in the end zone and play aggressive at the line of scrimmage. I'll take the Niners in this one.
I'm taking the Niners as well. The Cardinals have played 2 NFC South teams. I don't know how good they are. They might be good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the Niners. It's their first home game. That crowd's going to be ready. I know Brock Purdy's out, but Mac Jones played well last week, 3 touchdowns. I'll take the Niners in this one. I'll say 30-20. They get the win. Sunday Night Football on NBC. The first Sunday Night Football matchup to feature two 0-2 teams since 2002. It's the Chiefs and the Giants. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark on the call. Ryan Radke, Mike Golick on Westwood 1. 8:20 on NBC. Chase, who do you got?
Do you remember the 21st of September?
I do remember the 21st of September.
Well, we're going to remember this as the day that the Chiefs get back on track. The Chiefs are going to win this football game.
I agree. I've wanted to pick the Giants.
Yeah, I did too.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Your first Sunday Night Football on NBC game, December 21st, 08. The running back trio of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah. So I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. Very ugly game. I'll say 27-20. They win. Monday Night Football, Lions, Ravens, 8:15, ESPN, ABC. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters, Laura Rutledge with the call. Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner on Westwood 1. This is a tough one.
I'm going to go Ravens. Home game. I think they're wearing their black uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Woo. Yeah, it's tough going. I think it's going to be a good game, though, but I'm going to go with the Ravens in this.
I want to pick the Lions. Do I think they can win? Yes, but the Ravens are so good at home in September. You and I both know that, especially in primetime. I'll take the Ravens in a very good one. I'm going to say 37-30. They beat the Lions. All right, time now for a game that Chase and I like to play called By the End of the Weekend, where we give what we think the headline we'll be discussing the most will be after Monday Night Football. So, Chase, by the end of the weekend, ...
By the end of the weekend, we'll take the Indianapolis Colts seriously.
Okay, so going off of something that I mentioned last week, which I like. By the end of the weekend, ... I'll be telling you why Kyle Shanahan is the front runner for Coach of the Year.
Okay, we differed. We differed. Wow. But
Monday
they're still
Night Football, Week 16, 49ers Colts, by the way.
Oh, boy, Monday Night Football, Knights of Indiana. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, that could that's after the Bengals play the Dolphins. Will Joe Burrow be back by then?
I mean, hopefully so. We'll see.
Something tells me he's going to be. I just think, I know there's been talk about him and Andrew Luck, but I think Joe Burrow's wired differently. And that's